Okay, so I'm going to be doing a VOD review for bluebees, a Roadhog player. Um, you say you're primarily a quick play warrior, which I'll say is obviously okay. You know, you can play the game however you'd like. And quick play is it still has a matchmaking rating effectively, right? It's just not nearly as like tight as ranked would be, right? So your consistent or sorry, your experience in quick play is going to be like very high variance compared to like the rank experience, right? Which is usually more difficult to rank up with, or you improve, I should say, right? Obviously, you're not literally ranking up in quick play, although technically you can be behind the scenes, right? Because your MMR will go up. And you'll fight better players on average, right? Just something to keep in mind. But like, if all you want to do is play quick play, that's perfectly fine, right? You can definitely improve by playing quick play. Kind of a funny tangent. When I first started playing Overwatch, I pretty much only played quick play, and I don't know exactly how good I was when I started, but I pretty much like immediately like climbed into diamond and then like top 500 the next season, right? And I don't even have enough comp wins to qualify for top 500 anymore after um they changed it so you now need 750 total comp wins, right? I don't even think I'm that close. And I got like to the top 500 multiple times on hog only, so yeah, that's beside the point, right? And most of my play times in quick play, right? Um, yeah, a little bit of a tangent, but I just kind of just to illustrate that like you can still get better by playing quick play, but it's definitely not as good as competitive, right? Anyways, right? You're curious as to what rank people would think you are. Um, I think this is probably like roughly gold, right? I think these players are making a lot of like really obvious mistakes, right? I'm not super confident, but this looks like it's probably like in this like yeah, right around gold, maybe silver gold range ish. A lot of like really goofy stuff from both teams. Yeah, that's all right. You know, that's where most of the player base is, so it's to be expected. Um, you know, you should have switched, but if I mean, I don't really think it's necessary. Yeah, so I don't know, like, if you play any other tanks, but, you know, I've OTP'd Hog multiple times, right? I obviously never swap, but generally my rule of thumb in swapping is, like, if, like, your character is actually just, like, heavily limiting you to what you can do, then yeah, I'd swap. For example, like, if you just really like playing Hog, and they make, like, one swap to Ana, but your team has, like, a Kiriko, right? And, like, their comp is just awful, you know, they're all, like, Kiriko, I don't know, Moira, Winston, and whatever DPS you can pick, whatever, right? And you actually have like a good comp that kind of like shuts them down hard. Or sorry, yeah, Moira Anna or something, right? Like they can't really do anything to you, even if you get anti, then it's not a problem. But if they swap like Anna, Weaver, Orisa, like Widow, Sojourn or something, right? And you literally can't do anything on Hog, and you're playing on like Circuit Royale, right? That would probably be a good time to swap, right? I mean, those are kind of like two extremes, right? Where like literally nothing you can do, you literally can't like accomplish anything on the character unless they hard troll. That would be a good like time to swap off, right? Yeah, because like they just have too many cooldowns for you to get through, and you pretty much just have to do nothing except AFK and hope your team gives you an opportunity to do something, right? Yeah. Anyways, yeah, I watched this replay. Um, a little bit of tangents, right? And yeah, I watched the replay. I say right now, the biggest three issues you have are that one, you're not responding to the number situation on your team. First and foremost, but it's also on the enemy team, right? Basically, when you're up in players, right, you need to be looking to like continue trying to create an advantage for your team, right? Which means getting more picks or pushing people further out, so the enemy team can't make like a comeback pick. Is like if you know in the downtime you give them, right? And conversely, like if you're down players, you should probably be looking to back up or like at least change your angle significantly to try to like do what like catch someone that overextends and try to like turn the fight for your team, right? If someone overextends, like because you're in an unexpected angle, or just because they just blow their cooldowns trying to chase you for no reason, right? That's kind of what you want to be doing. Especially on hog, right? You have like a really short cooldown on your hook, and like every time you go for a hook, you can in principle get a kill, right? And just like being aware of like the player numbers at all times is like really beneficial on hog, right? Because like your range is really quite good, and of course you always have that potential just to one shot someone if you're just like set up at an odd angle, or you just like you're playing your life more than the enemy team would expect, right? Um, and also specifically on tank, you want to be the one that pressures like the vast majority of the time when you're up players, right? Because you actually have, well, obviously you have like literally 3 times the amount of HP that anyone else on your team has, right? So, and you also have like a defensive cooldown. So you're the like by far the least likely person to die if you just press forward, right? And sometimes on tank there are like opportunities where you're literally impossible to kill. Like for example, like if the only person left on their team alive is the Moira, like there's literally no way a Moira can ever kill a Roadhog. Assuming both people have all their cooldowns online. Like it's literally impossible. You literally have to go AFK and not shoot her. And just not move, right? Because worst comes to worst, like let's just say you just like literally are just missing everything. You just run back to your team, and she literally cannot kill you if you get any sort of healing, right? Again, kind of like an obvious example. That just goes to illustrate that sometimes you're just like literally unkillable in tank. Secondly, I want you to be using your hook more often. Like I said earlier, hook is a cooldown that can just immediately turn the fight in your favor, right? If you just hook someone on like the back line and just one shot them, like you just immediately give your team the opening they need to like take an angle, right? Yeah. Every time you go for a hook, in principle, that's an opportunity to get a pick and just immediately like turn the fight in your favor. And if you're sitting on hook too much, right, you're just like kind of wasting value on the character and like obviously not getting as much value as you could otherwise, right? It's really an ability you want to spam. Obviously, you just don't want to hold down your shift button or whatever button you use for it, right? Um, but yeah, try to be at least like trying to like aim, obviously. But in principle, you want to be like you trying to use hook every time you have it available to like try to force value in a fight, right? Third, you need to like pay attention to how you're using cover more, right? These players aren't like punishing you enough, or I should say as much as they could be, but you're finding yourself at the open a lot, just taking a lot of unnecessary damage. And the thing is, like on tank, you have a lot of HP, so you might be thinking like I'd rather take the damage to my team. But really what's happening is that you're taking, or maybe not this game in particular, but what will happen is that you will take more resources from either yourself, which makes it impossible for you to push, right? Or from your supports, right, to heal you, which means your DPS can't get healed, right? And your supports like can't do damage themselves. And right, like you say, oh, I want to take the damage to send my team. But what's going to happen is that you're either going to get, as you rank up or get better or play against better opponents, is you're either going to get farmed, right, and be unable to do anything, or you'll literally just be completely ignored, right, and they'll just like shoot your backline, right? Like when you're fighting, like for example, a Bastion and he's in turret form, like your team also has to know, like as you like get better and your teammates get better too, right? They'll know to like not peek Bastion in turret form because he's like not very threatening without turret form, right? That's kind of has to be your mentality on tank, right? You can't always run forward, especially when they're using like these big pyro spike cooldowns, especially when you're on hog because you like don't really have good damage mitigation tools, right? You're kind of like a glass cannon on tank, right? I mean, you have a big HP pool, but you can die really, really quickly, right? Especially if they're running like the correct or a good support lineup into you or something like that. Um, if you want to get better on hog, by the way, I also have some other resources in this channel, right? I have a hog gameplay guide. It's pretty basic as well as like a more in-depth, like total comprehensive hog guide. Might be worth checking out, right? So you can like learn a few texts or something to try to implement those in your gameplay as well as like learning how I approach the game, I guess more in depth. I don't want to go too in depth. Yeah, into my playstyle. Say I'll obviously comment on yours. Right here, I don't love setting up here. I don't necessarily hate it. My problem is you have no way to escape if they push you, right? Like your only option is coming all the way up here. This is like a really long rotation, right? And like this angle isn't the best view because again, you still really can't escape. Um, Yeah, and like your team doesn't have like the best angles to watch his choke either, right? It's you're not gonna like get hard punished for it, like especially in this rank. I don't hate it either. It's just that like your escape, you don't really have an escape option. But I do like how you're setting up in an angle that's slightly different from your team, right? Which is why I say it's not the end of the world. Here's small tip, right? You have this like tendency to keep walking back and forth, right? You can literally just like run into them and literally just hold W to get as close as possible so you maximize your DPS, right? You see like you do this thing a lot where you're like dancing back and forth a lot for no reason. And it's kind of like detrimental to your DPS, right? Your damage, well, obviously your not literally your DPS characters, but like your personal DPS. This is like what I'm kind of talking about. Like, you're not getting value from shooting this Bastion, right? If he was a better player, one, he probably wouldn't be going up there, but two, he'd be playing closer to cover and just farming his ult off you. Because you literally do, like, I don't know, 40 damage per second at this range, maybe, if all your pellets connect, right? It's fine, whatever, you're not going to hit everything. My point is, like, you're wasting more resources from yourself and your team than this Bastion is from, like, himself and his team. And just like not getting anything out of it, right? When you don't have your hook, you don't want to peek these really long angles. You want to look for someone closer to try to farm or just literally not peek at all, right? Like right now, what you could be doing is like shooting the Baptiste, for example. He's also a better target because he's also potentially in the LOS of your team, right? You know, I don't know exactly where they're all playing, but it's like someone could be playing here, for example, or they even have an angle like if they play here-ish, right, or on top or something like that. Excuse me. But this Bastion, literally, you're the only person that can see him, and your DPS is like totally inconsequential towards him, right? You see, like you're not really missing a ton. You're just not doing damage, because like you're just too far away. Yep, this is, if I'm not saying anything, it's because it's all pretty good, right? Nothing really to say. I would say when you move around like this a lot, you also make a lot of noise, and Hog's really, really loud. I don't play with a headset personally, but I have a feeling most people that play this game probably do, especially in a competitive environment. You kind of like lose your element of surprise by moving like so much. The only reason he runs away there is because your soldier was shooting, by the way. Okay, good kill. Right. This Doomfist is hard trolling so far this game, right? This is a position where you can be walking forward, but I understand why you're not, right? It's kind of risky. You don't want to get farmed here. Like, unfortunately, not much has happened so far this game. You know, their Doomfist is kind of fed like multiple lives in a row. So I would say I think like this thing you're doing with your movement is also really messing up your aim. It's perfectly acceptable. Literally, just hold still and just like try to track the person as best as possible, right? You can even use cover, so you can only get shot by certain players at certain times, right? So, like if I stand here, right, I can only get shot by the Bastion, and he's not in turret form. He's pretty far, so he's not gonna like blow you up. But obviously, like if I peek here, right, or even worse, let's just like make it as obvious as possible. Like if I teleport you in right here, you can get shot by their entire team, right? Which is obviously something you don't want to do. So you can kind of use cover to your advantage by like slowly peeking as little people as possible to try to like get the kill. You know, if that makes sense. Yeah, obviously not much to say. You know, their Doom's been beating in the choke a few times. I bring up like the tech thing earlier because this is an opportunity where you could have turned him to the side, right? Behind this wall into your trap, right? And body blocked his escape and potentially killed him with your soldier, right? Because when you put him here, he's forced to either block in this direction or block in the direction of your soldier, which means someone's going to blow him up, right? And he also can't easily escape from the cover. It's fine, right? Whatever. Obviously, in retrospect, better our opportunity to your right side. I think it would have been the Doomfist. It's just more reliable to try to hit the Doom there. Because he's a tank you can definitely just blow up, right? I think this is the first time I've ever seen a Bastion ult get 3 kills. But this is kind of what I was talking about, right? You see 3 of your teammates are dead, your instinct here should be literally just to run away, right? Don't even go for a hook. I know I was talking about like try to go hooks as often as possible. But what's likely going to happen here, even if you hit a hook, you'll hook the Doomfist, he's not going to die, and then you'll get rushed down by their entire team, right? Hog needs a lot of space to work because you're actually like kind of frail as a tank, and like you can easily explode, right? If you're just getting shot by like 5 players. So you kind of had an opportunity to escape, now you're just in the middle of 5 people to die. Like they really should have killed you away sooner, right? They're just missing a lot. Obviously not a good ult there, right? Like don't ult in that situation. The entire team's dead. Okay, that ult's crazy. This is okay here. You're still waiting on your soldier, so. Yep. Unfortunately, this is the worst part about Hog, right? You have no mobility. I would say for perks, you actually choose the 2 wrong perks. I mean, I wouldn't say they're wrong, but the 2 worst perks, especially in 5v5. The other perk where you get like the extra healing on the pig pen activation is like really well, I don't know about really, but it's really quite strong because it gives you so much survivability, right? You can actively use it mid-fight to kind of extend like your pressure. Whereas like this scrap hook doesn't really like give you a whole lot of value in my opinion. It can give you value against like some tanks, but that's kind of it, right? Like you shouldn't be using it to like cancel your reload or like ensure you get 2 bullets. You should just like instinctually be like always keeping at least one round in the chamber before you go for a hook because you don't have the perk the whole game, right? This is a good position where you should be like using hook, right? You need to like assess what the danger is on their team when you're playing hog, and usually that danger is like hard stuns, right? You can usually run away from any amount of damage on hog, right? As long as you like only take it from one source. But if they have a hard stun and stun you out of your breather, you're just gonna explode, right? And like on their team, it's just the Doom, right? And you also have to consider that you're pretty close to cover, and like their LOS on you isn't that good, and their Doomfist is dead. My entire point is the Doomfist is dead, so like they don't have a great way of punishing you right now, right? Like in neutral, Freya can like farm damage off you, but that's kind of like the only threat except the Doomfist's like punch on their team, right? Their backline is not too good into hog, right? You kind of have to overextend a lot. Bastion, I don't really think Bastion's good in the hog. I'd say like is a general rule, right? Like, or is there like a general backline analysis of their team, right? Moira is probably like the absolute worst support to play into hog, right? She's like really bad in the hog. You can force out her fade literally just by looking at her, right? And her healing orb is basically useless against you too, right? Because you can like 1 or 2 shot her pretty consistently if your aim's good. And like I said, she can't kill you, right? She can be annoying for some tanks because she's just so hard to kill, but like that's not really the case for hog, right? And she's forced to play in your range, otherwise she can't damage anyone. Bap is like not very good either, in my opinion. Like on really long sightline maps, he can kind of be an issue because he does a decent amount of damage, but like he's just too close range, right? And if you force him to play far away, his cooldowns are like really low value, right? Freya can definitely farm you. Be careful about that. Bastion, like just LOS his turret form, or even hook him out of it if he's overextended. And he'll just like he'll get like 2 shot, right? Especially if you pull him into your team. I think Bastion's actually like quite bad in the hog unless he has like really specific teammates, which is basically like speed. Right? Here's a small tip, right? When someone like lands on you or like a tank's point blank, you should be looking to shoot them first to force out cooldowns, right? So you can use your hook to like nullify their cooldowns and like, give them no value, right? So like against Doomfist in particular, keep shooting him until he blocks, then hook him out of block for like an easy kill, right? Not the end of the world, but like if you want to up your game, that's kind of like interactions you have to look for. Don't shoot the Doomfist block if no one else is shooting him, right? You're just kind of giving him charge punch for free. It's fine. Your soldier's insane. Here, you're down 1 here, so like even though the Moira looked killable, her other support's with her and she fades too far away, right? When you don't have hook, you usually can't like right? You should have been backing out a little sooner here. Catch the read, right? eventually, but like you're still down 2. Here, you just gotta keep backing up, right? 2 of your teammates are effectively still dead. I mean, they just respawn now. You can see, yeah, you can see like your soldiers running back right now, and your cast literally just respawn right now. So you don't want to take this fight right now, right? If these people were better, one, they wouldn't be missing so much, and two, they'd just be like running into you to kill you, right? I don't know where their bastion is. Okay, he's flanking. Yeah. Here, this is a cover usage thing, right? If you don't have hook, don't peek bastion at range, right? This guy could definitely pull you up from this guy. That's alright, I don't know why your team went in to fight a window. They definitely could have escaped, right? This is a position, right? Again, when you're down players, what you should be doing is keep backing up or set up at like an awkward angle to like look for someone that overextends, right? If you just saw 2 are up here, what you could either be doing, right? Because you're gonna get another fight based off where the card is, right? And you're like all split right now. You could either like hard back to here, right? Or you could potentially come up here, right? Set up like up top, and then maybe like their Baptiste like jumps up there, and you just like hook them or something like that, or maybe their Doom comes up here, right? Those are like opportunities you could be looking for, while you can't really do anything anyways because your team's dead. That's another opportunity where like you could have kept shooting the Doomfist till he blocks, and then hook him out of block to kill him, right? He either didn't have it, or just was like scared to use it. I'll see. I'm sure you can see now, if you literally just shot him one more time before you hooked him, he would have died, right? Or you would have had a much better chance of killing him, right? Just keep backing, right? You see you're down literally everyone. Like, the only reason this works is because they're bad, right? And you're gonna die for this still, too. I think? Maybe? Okay, maybe not. You should have definitely died for that, right? That Doomfist could have pushed you because you didn't have hook, right? When you don't have hook, you're like way more vulnerable. In Hoggle, right? Like, I don't think it's very good, especially against Doomfist. But if you can just stop shooting so you can actually get closer, and then just shoot them when you walk a little closer, right? Because people move slower when they walk backwards. And when you just do this in the open, you just push them away, right? If you just were a bit more patient with that, right, you could have definitely killed that guy. Unfortunate. Don't shoot the block. Okay, I didn't bring it up earlier, but the AoE healing perk is like not very good. In 5v5, right? In 6v6, or sorry, yeah, in 6v6 it might be better. But in 5v5, right, just you having the speed is just completely overpowered because you just take less damage because you can like get behind cover more quickly, which in turn, like you might be thinking, oh, I can heal my teammates. But the way Hog works is that you want to play fairly like disconnected from your team. You want your team to take like angles so you don't get like 5-man focused. So one, like your teammates will often be like kind of out of range of your heal. And two, if you break cover more consistently, right, due to the increased speed, you force your supports to focus on healing you less because you'll be taking less damage, right? And they'll be able to do something else, right? And not, like be able to heal the people who are taking damage or not be in position like get shot in the first place, something like that. Especially against dives, right? It's better as Hog just to shoot the people, right, instead of healing. It's just more impactful. Nice. I'll say your trap usage is pretty good. I mean, it's pretty general, simple cooldown. Just put it in a corner and try to put a people in it. Here, this is definitely an opportunity where you could be looking for a hook, right? Even if you miss, like so many people are so worried about missing, but like what happens if you miss here, right? Like absolutely nothing, right? They're playing so far away that if you miss, you literally just back up and literally no one can touch you, right? And their team is still respawning, right? So this is a completely free time to go for a hook on us Hog, right? Like this is why you want to be using it as much as possible, especially when they're down players, right? Like you killed the Doom and you killed the Bastion. It's like what's gonna kill you right now? You see in that like time frame, you could have gone for at least one more hook by the time the Doom just got back, right? Okay, I guess the healing came in clutch there. This is an even fight, but I'd be willing to like try to pressure, for example, this this Moira, or look for someone in their backline, right? When their tank's dead, it's still usually in your favor when it's an even fight, right? Especially like I said earlier, like their backline is not too threatening. Actually, like the two most threatening players in their team are dead right now. Small tip against Moira, you can just shoot her until she fades. Like similarly to tanks, or try to like, do it as fast as possible to catch her off guard. That's okay though, right? Still like that you forced her out. See, even when you miss, you still force the Moira out, right? Still force the fade, still force her off the angle, so still get value. So I think hook act is kind of an overrated, whatever, metric. Anyways, here, this is a good example of like cover usage. Like you're just taking cover or damage from this Bastion for no reason. You literally can't do anything to him at this range, right? So the correct thing to do is literally not peek him, right? Your team also has to know they can't do anything do anything to him at this range either. But he at the same time the Bastion really can't do anything at this range either. So like it's like a dumb play from him. Like it's just a complete resource drain from you for no reason. Unfortunate. I guess your shot didn't register again. Right? I will say here, if you just kept shooting him, he probably would have died, right? Instead of trying to heal your team. It's more valuable to kill the Doomfist than it is to save your team. Because like you just don't have consistent damage mitigation for your team on Hog, right? Your value is kind of just like killing people. Here, big cover usage thing, right? The Bastion finally takes like a better angle, and you just peek into him, right? You see, he kind of gets sandwiched, which is kind of a good play by their team. Kind of unfortunate, right? Had you at every angle. I will say, like, you probably should be LOSing the Bastion and try and like hard push the Baptiste or something, for example. Kind of a problem with that fight is you just didn't kill the Doomfist when you had that opportunity to do so. That's okay. That fight isn't like super big problem. You can definitely be going for more hooks, right? You can see the card through walls, right? So at least one guy's gotta be on cart, right? I think they had the 2x multiplier on it right then. So at least someone's on cart, right? Which can give you an idea of where people are gonna be through walls, right? And you can just peek against this comp, right? Like they're not gonna cause you to explode. They don't have an ad or anything, or something that's like insta-kill you. So you can definitely be a bit more aggressive with how you peek these angles and look for more, I guess, quote unquote, dangerous hooks that are, yeah. I mean, because you're just not in danger of dying because that comp. Not really. Not neutral. Kill. So yeah, I think the healing perk's kind of coming in clutch here. I will admit, saving your team a few times. And you could be asking, like, it seems to be working this game. Why won't it work high ladder? It's because your entire team will not 5-stack this corner. I mean, that's kind of the gist of it, right? I mean, not to say they're literally doing that right now, but they'll be playing cover better too. So that's why it's valuable. Which means they won't be taking that damage, right? Good kill, right? Doomfist feeds again. Here, this is an opportunity for you just to hold the corner, right? Like, you don't want to be backing up into your team to give this Bastion easy lineups, right? You can literally just stand here because, like, this Bastion ult can't kill you, right? Especially when they don't have a tank. Like, you have really nothing to be afraid of. And you could be looking for someone to overextend to try to look to, like, follow up on the Bastion ult, right? For example, maybe the Freya hears the Bastion's ulting, and she comes forward to try to look to shoot people. When you're just sitting at this corner, like, denying that angle, she just feeds and just dies. And, right. Because you can't save anyone from the Bastion ult anyways, right? If he hits good shots with it, like, there's nothing you can do. Your healing's not enough. It just one-shots people. Good kill regardless, right? She overextends, gets punished, right? This is, like you see here, you're just taking a ton of damage from the spun-up Bastion. Your goal should be to try to hook him like as soon as possible, so you block his damage, hook him into your team. For example, if you hook him right here, you see literally you can shoot him, your Yari can shoot him, right? Your Lucio can shoot him, your Bastion probably has an angle to shoot him, right? Maybe not exactly, but like that's at least 3 players that can shoot him, right? And he can't shoot while he's stunned by your hook, right? And you can just like 2-shot him alone and just heal off like all the damage he does, or just don't look at him at all, so he can't do damage to you, right? You're doing like the worst thing, which is just shooting him with your gun when he's in turret form, right? So he does like way more DPS than you, and he also has damage reduction just like passively in turret form, and he also has armor. And Hog's like really bad to armor. You do like half damage to armor, just for reference. All right, good snag, right? You see, you're still doing that thing. I'll make a note of it again here, again. So you like walk forward after you hook, which is good, but you just back up for no reason when you should be like going forward to like secure that kill. Just because no one else is shooting you, right? You have no reason to be afraid. Here, this is a position where you can just run forward, right? They're down 2, and you have overhealth, right? You're literally impossible to get in this position. Okay, regardless, good hook. Right, crazy old by your cast. You could be looking to greed a bit more and come up to this corner. On Hog, especially against like team comps like this that don't have like good ways of killing you, you can greed, right? Which means like push forward and play some like unexpected angle. Unfortunately, this is harder without your speed perk. And like for example, like hide here and see if someone overextends too early, right? You throw a hook out and just one shot them, and now they're stuck waiting additional like 15 seconds for their teammate to respawn and come back, right? And you can also catch, for example, people pushing up too early, right? I wasn't paying attention to exactly where the Bastion was walking, but there's a chance it's Bastion peaks too early. You do pretty much you do the exact same thing I was talking about, right? If they have like an Ana, like something that like blow you up really easily, right? A lot of mobility, like they have speed. Don't do that though. Against Bastion, you don't have to be so afraid to hook him, right? Especially if he isn't looking at you, because like you get the stun, you just like kill him really easily. This is point blank. That's alright. There's some things you could have done better that fight, right? It was kind of an even fight. I think your Bastion may have still been dead, but they just used a lot of ults there. Not the end of the world. I'll say it's not the end of the world because like when teams use like 2+ ults, you don't have like a good way of like doing anything about it sometimes, right? Especially it's Hog because your ult's just not very good. Like Hog is like not gonna consistently win fights with his ult. I will say, right, if you stopped healing there to shoot him, probably could have died, right, if you shot him in the back. And I will say, like, this is like a big problem cover usage-wise, right? You see you're trying to like hook this Bastion to your team, but you see in doing this, look from their perspective how easy you are to hit, right? This is a really good like teaching moment, hopefully. You see, like, if they were better players, you'd be getting lit up even more than you are now, right? They're just missing you a bit, and they're not shooting nearly as quickly as they could be, right? You're still, like, you went down to, like, 250 health, right? You're still getting blown up for doing that. I'm sure you can imagine against better players, like, you're gonna, like, instantly get forced to breather, right? So what you should be doing instead is, like, walking here, right? Playing the cover here, looking to, like, contest cart more or less, or looking to contest the Doomfist, right? Or if the Doomfist messes up in his engage, you might even be able to like come up here and flank, right? Like you have options that are all better than just like walking in the open, and getting blown up by their team. See here is you wasted all your breather, and now you have no resources, right? You got blown up by this Freya, right? I'm sure you can see in retrospect that was completely avoidable, right? Maybe your entire team dies at the same time, or anyways, but like you dying with them is obviously like not gonna consistently like win you games, right, or help you improve. So like yeah, I don't want to delve too deep into that. Anyways, right. In conclusion, you need to pay better attention to the player counts on both teams, right? Especially the player count on the enemy team, right? Especially on Hog, right? When they're down players, I want you to be like pressing W more. This is a good general tank rule, right? Not only Hog, right? Like respond to what they have cooldown wise and like character wise that could stop you from walking forward, right? Um, and like walk forward if like nothing's stopping you from doing so, right? Hog's definitely an awkward tank where there's a lot of stuff that can stop him from walking forward successfully, right? And sometimes even if you're up one, you can't just run in if like they're running Ana Zen, right? And they have all their cooldowns, because you will instant die for it. But like generally speaking, you want to be at least like trying to force an angle somewhere if you're up a player. Secondly, right, work on your hookup time more, which just means literally throwing more hooks, right? And this kind of ties into point one. you need to utilize the opportunities you have to throw hooks, right? And try to like continuously stagger the enemy team. Third, use cover more effectively, right? I'm sure I showed you a few examples of where you're just like walking in the open a lot or taking these engagements, especially against the Bastion, where it's just like not even worth looking at him sometimes, right? Like if you know where he is and you know you can play behind a piece of cover where he can't get an angle on you, you want to do that, right? That's kind of like a good fundamental for tank in general. Actually, like a good fundamental for every role, but especially on tank, right? Because you're going to be taking an like a disproportionate amount of fire from the enemy team at all times. So you need to be like really wary of that kind of stuff, right? And like with DPS and support, like sometimes, especially against hit scan, right? If you can just get like two shot by someone, right? Like two shot by hit scan, which is in the case on tank. So you have more leeway, but you're also going to be like, getting shot by more players way more consistently than like DPS or supports, right? So yeah. I would recommend you check out those videos. I guess I'll link them in the description, right? Yeah, they probably help. Yeah, and I do have. Oh, I guess I do have more replays on this channel for hog coaching in particular. Um, if you have any further questions, feel free to ask.